What's going on, everybody? It's Pelfrey, and this is obviously the Red Sea Reefer 250. Been working on the tank a little bit here and there, not doing too much. What I did do was, this is my DIY screen, and I took it outside, sprayed it off with water. It had some salt creep around it, and then I set it in the sun and let it dry out. I did move the aquatic life fixture down a little bit, and tried to tidy up some of the cabling up here. So I do have some new screws from Aquatic Life that would potentially allow me to hard mount this to the 80/20 so that I could get rid of this hanging kit here. Up in the air on whether or not I'm going to do that. It would take a little bit of work. I'd have to pull the mount out, lower it obviously, then mount the T5 fixture to the 80/20. But it would give it a static mount, whereas right now I do have the capabilities of moving it. Now, if I did do a static mount and a permanent mount connected to the 80/20, what I would probably try to do sometime in the future is build some type of canopy just to cover up everything. And if I did mount it to the 80/20, I could build a canopy that was probably, I don't know, 5 inches, 6, 7, we'll say 8 inches for sake of giving myself some space here to cover up the fixture and then cover up the wiring. And the only reason that I would even think about doing that is just to get everything covered up. And I would try to make some type of canopy that I could easily remove it. But I did lower the fixture just a little bit, and I did look at some of the par numbers, and with the Kessels at 100%, I was getting like 450-ish at the top of the water line. So about the middle of the tank, I'm at about 200, and even at the sand bed, I'm doing way better than I was. I'm at about 180 to 200 at the sand bed, so these hammers over here are about in the 200 range. So very satisfied with that. So before we jump any further into this video, if you're on Instagram, follow me on Instagram at Pelfrey's Reef. I do quite a few updates on the tank on Instagram at Pelfrey's Reef, and check out the website at pelfrey.net. Also, I did some water testing, and alkalinity's been staying stable at about 8.4. Calcium was like 440, I believe. Magnesium was 1440. So I think my numbers from my last test were just a little lower due to testing error, but that's on me. Nitrates, I tested with the high and low range. With the high range, there was a faint color. With the low range, it turned pink immediately, so I know I'm at about 4 or 5 nitrates. As far as phosphates are concerned, with the Hannah checker, I'm at 0.05. And then my salinity is a little high, so I am trying to work on that and get the salinity figured out. So I probably need to get maybe the Ice Cap salinity monitor, or maybe the Milwaukee, I'm not really sure. Still haven't sent off the Triton test. I need to, but I want to get the salinity in check so that I know it's good before I send off the Triton test. I was testing some par on the Red Sea Reefer 250, and I'm at about a 250-ish average now, which I'm thoroughly satisfied with. But since I had the Seneye out, and somebody had mentioned this previously, I decided this is a 10-gallon container here. So there's about 10 gallons of water in there. We're in direct sunlight. The laptop is in some shade just so we can see the screen. And I don't know how deep this is. I'd have to get a tape measure to measure it, but for a rough estimate is 14 or 16 inches deep. So if we turn the Seneye around, which it's kind of sideways right now, and it's actually at 330-ish and about 12,000 lux. But if we turn the Seneye up into the direct sunlight, we are now at 1,500, 1,300, 1,800, 50, 60,000 lux. So definitely definitely interested to see this thing with some direct sunlight. And I don't know if anybody's ever tested their Seneye under direct sunlight, or if you're even supposed to. I can't imagine why you wouldn't, but if you're not supposed to, then I just damaged mine, but oh well. But yeah, at certain points it is hitting over 2,000 par under direct sunlight, and I do appreciate the suggestion. I cannot remember who decided or who said you should test that out under direct sunlight. So if we bring it up here closer to the water surface, we're now at see. Actually, the par got lower. I'm guessing because the reflection off the white container. Let's see here. At the bottom. Yeah, something happened here. Maybe it doesn't like. So at the bottom, where we go, we're at 1700. And if I move it to this position, it actually goes down to like 900. So yeah, it may very well be just a simple reflection. So this is basically at the water surface, and that is 700 par, 26,000 lux at the surface of the water. So, and the sun is just over my left shoulder. I don't typically run any mechanical filtration. I am right now. I have for a few days just because I haven't run any for a long time. But since I don't have the algae turf scrubber in here anymore, I was able to clean the sump a little bit. There's still some stuff just hanging out back here, but that's not really that big of a deal. But this is the second pad that I've run. So what I'm doing is, this one tends to clog up faster, so I'll let it run like this for a few hours, and then I'll put this one back here and then move this one up here, just because, like I said, this one tends to get, the front one tends to get dirty faster, just because that's the path of least resistance as far as the water is concerned. So what I've been doing is just letting them run, and then 6 to 8 hours later, the water will be flowing over the filter socks and into the skimmer section here. So obviously I do have the skimmer turned off, just because otherwise it's going to go nuts with replacing this filter pad in there. But this has been in here for about 12 hours, and these aren't so bad. The ones that I took out the other day were a little bit worse, but the tank's getting pretty clean. What I did was I mixed up a gallon of water with lower salinity, and I've got it just recirculating right now. I also took that opportunity to pull out the carbon and the BRS mini reactor, clean it, and what I'm going to do is to get the water volume correct in the sump after I let it circulate for a little while, I'm just going to turn the reactor on, since I need to flush the media, the carbon media anyway, and I'm just going to drain the water into this bucket until the sump levels out. Make it a point a couple times a week anyway to open up the cabinet and just look at the skimmer and how it's skimming. And I just happened to see this thing where the filter socks would be. And this thing is obviously a bristle worm, but it is a pretty good sized bristle worm. I've seen them in my tank before. I'm not really all that concerned about it. Apparently how heavy you feed kind of dictates whether or not there's a big population of them or not. But I will say that I've never touched one before, but from what I've read, you definitely do not want to touch one. It's got the little bristles on it. I guess it's where it gets the name bristle worm. And apparently those things don't feel very good. So yeah, so if you're sticking your hand in your tank up under ledges or in rocks or whatever, just be aware that you may have these. And this one is a good 3 or 4 inches long whenever it's spread out completely. So I know that there's more in the tank, but this is definitely the biggest one I've seen in the Red Sea Reefer. Got a packed sump here. Just as I say that, start talking, the Neptune auto feeder starts running. So if you aren't aware, they are pretty loud, but I'm not here whenever it runs 98% of the time. I just happen to be home now. So the gyre pump shut off for about 2 minutes. Auto feeder dropped some pellets in the tank and they're good to go. But I needed some cleanup crew since I took the algae turf scrubber off, so I ordered like 6 or 7, I think. Trocus snails, those are my favorite snails because they will upright themselves. But I also went ahead and I got some blue-green chromies. Now, this one arrived, unfortunately, dead, but I got 6 more. Decided that if I needed some cleanup crew, I might as well make it worth my while as far as shipping is concerned. So I'm gonna acclimate them. The water was a little cool, so I'm gonna acclimate them for about 30 minutes in the sump. I did turn the skimmer off just because obviously adding this much to this small sump is going to raise the water level up. So I got some errands to run. I'm gonna go run those errands, turn the lights off in the cabinet, shut the cabinet, come back, get them into the tank. Before we get into the fish that I got from Live Aquaria, and I did make a mistake on Instagram by claiming that FedEx dropped the package off, and I was wrong. It was actually a UPS delivery. If you're not following me on Instagram, it's because the box was not facing with the arrows facing up, like the box is supposed to be facing. So my apologies, FedEx, UPS. Hopefully you can just set the box up right, even though at the end of the day, how the box is setting on my porch is irrelevant considering what they probably went through over the last 12 hours. So anyway, why am I in the garage? Because I have spent about 5 hours cleaning the house. So I got the Dyson vacuum here. This is a rechargeable vacuum, and the Swiffer. So if you want to do some stuff to your tank and it's going to require a little bit of time, clean the house. Do something for the wife. My wife is gone on business right now, and when she gets home, I guarantee you she's going to be shocked and thrilled that the house is as clean as it is. So that's why I'm pointing you towards a rechargeable Dyson. Yeah, I burnt my finger a couple weeks ago. A rechargeable Dyson vacuum cleaner and a Swiffer. And I got one more thing. Hang on one second. Some of you may not know what these are, but this is a washer and this is a dryer. Do some laundry. I have a mini project that I would like to do on the tank that I mentioned earlier in the video about moving the aquatic life fixture, and it's going to take a little bit of time. So trying to get me some points here, and hopefully by me cleaning the house and doing the laundry, which I do all of the laundry in the house to begin with, but hopefully this gives me enough points to maybe get a little extra time to move the aquatic life fixture off the hanging kit and permanently mount it to the 80/20. So point of the story is, do something nice for your significant other. Cleaning the house is not that big of a deal, and ultimately it is my house and her house, so it's got to be done anyway. So she's going to be thrilled and surprised again that it's done. I left the lights off for about 5 hours, and we have one of the blue-green chromies over here, a couple of them back here, one over here, curious about the food. So there should be 6 of them. Sorry, there's 5 right there. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not really sure where the 6th one went, but I'm sure he'll come out once he gets used to his new environment. Overall, it sucks that I lost the one that I did lose, but we all know that green chromies don't really ship that well, so it was kind of expected. That's why I ordered 7. Again, I got some more snails to kind of hopefully help with any algae control, because I just added 6 more fish to the system. Plan on testing nitrates here pretty soon and keeping a good check on them. Now I did keep the Rain 2 per Phillips Reef Keeper's suggestion. I'm going to leave a link to Reef Keeper's channel below. He's got a very nice Red Sea Reefer and a 40-gallon frag tank that he just started up. But I'm interested to see what happens with the new fish. Just real quick here, you can see that some coralline algae is growing on the MP40 on the back wall. And I do really like the MP40s on the back wall, or excuse me, MP10. It's an MP10, 10, it's not an MP40. And again, I do wish that this rockwork was a little bit smaller so that I could put one back here. But anyway, that's enough of that. I'm gonna go ahead and cut it off here. Stay tuned, because there are definitely some more updates. Again, I'm thinking about kind of doing something about this situation here. But I do appreciate you following along. Be sure to check out the website at pelfrey.net. Check me out on Instagram at Pelfrey's Reef. And I'll catch you on the next one.